So a week or two ago, I don't remember, I was sitting in front of the altar. I was actually praying
I remember that.
and crying. And Gurjeiff tapped me on the back.
Who's it?
This guy.
Oh.
And I turned, because I saw his face, but I didn't know his name. And then I was just sitting there meditating, and then he handed me, in my mind, he handed me a joint. And he wanted me to smoke it. And I just like laughed and then kept praying. And then for the past few, like since then, he keeps giving it to me to smoke it. But I don't like actually feel like I want to smoke. Like in that.
Joint, like marijuana?
Like a marijuana joint. And then I found this book, The Woman in the Rope, Gurjeiff and the Woman in the Rope this morning, and I looked it up, and it's about him administering psychedelics to women. So I'm just wondering if you've read this or what you have to say in response to all that.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that.
I haven't read it yet.
I've never,
I looked it up online.
I've never heard that.
What'd you say, Mama?
I've never ever heard that story regarding Gurjeiff, but I highly recommend his books.
We're not sure. Ramana. It's really muffled.
Is that better?
Yeah.
I have never heard that about Gurjeiff, but I can highly recommend his other books that I have read.
Let's read it on Dharma Night.
Read it, but she has other books she would recommend.
It's a little hard to follow Garuda because it's very conversational. It's him going back and forth with like eight different women.
Wow.
And there's also a book about letters that were written back and forth between Gurjeiff and his students.
I'm fascinated.
Anything else on him handing me a joint, or do you think that was just like to lead me in this direction? Because I've been like, okay, and I'll like feel a little shiver down my spine, but nothing else.
Well, you quit.
So you have been doing it, right? In your mind?
In my mind.
You have accepted it?
Yes.
And you're taking it in?
Mm-hmm.
So then, yes, then you're being guided to the next thing and the next thing.
Yeah.
It's just a portal, an opening and a pathway.
Got it.
To walk somewhere with
Okay.
I think it's a message. I think it's a message about tuning into him and his teachings and following your intuition.
Thank you. I think you're right.
Strengthening and deepening your connection with him by going higher.
Mm-hmm.
So Swati can have more? She can tell it?
I mean, higher with or without smoking a joint, just the idea of getting high may have been interpreted as him offering a joint, but it doesn't matter because the same message is in that of just getting high with him and getting high on him and getting high on his teachings. That's what I would interpret it as. But it's your intuition.
Yeah, I haven't felt that he means to go get a joint and smoke it until
Well,
until he comes to me embodied and hands it to me. I don't think that's what I want to do.
More, have more.
Oh, sure.
The
I would
sunset,
just,
What?
the sunset outside of heaven right now
Do you
is
wanna
the
finish
pinkest
this
it's
one?
ever been. It's really beautiful.
Where?
The sunset right outside is the beautifulest I ever seen it.
Yeah, this while you're getting
What's
more.
outside?
The sunset.
sunset break,
Right
sunset
now.
alert.
Okay, more salad coming, and I'm gonna put a little more chicken in it. So there's your protein. Okay.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about tonight?
Nothing.
I think what's going on with your son and his car?
We went to the gas station.
What?
We went to the gas station
Not electric?
and I filled up his tank and I said, I'll fill this up if you keep your tank 3/4 of the way filled or higher. He said, oh, okay. I said, I'll fill it up every time. That's all you have to do is keep it 3/4 of the tank high or higher. He said, okay. We'll see how he goes with that exercise. And then we talked a little bit about college. He seems interested. I think it's more his mother is very interested in being. Well, she has a lot of emotion about it. She doesn't seem to be very, very interested in what she is worried about.
What's she worried about?
She likes to put on a lot of likes to put out a lot of guilt in terms of the expenses. So when you do that, it sort of puts the other person in a, you know,
Well,
kind of a stress, not a stressful state, but it, you know, it's a little bit, it's interesting. And then if I bring up ways to go to college, she reacts.
Well, does it have to be expensive? Couldn't he go to a state school?
Oh yeah, exactly. And I mean, I'll give you an example. She brought up a school in New York City called FITM. It's like a fashion institute college through the city of New York. And there's a business program there that's to do with fashion. And it sounded interesting to me. It wasn't very, I just said, okay. But because she brought it up, I was like, did you know this? And I showed her that tuition is free if you make a certain amount of money, which she qualifies for. And when I show her these things, she gets a little upset. You know, I don't have any what's the word, Rashida? I don't have any there's no, what's the word? I'm not trying to like hint at maybe do it like that. It's more like, did you know that these schools in New York City have these official programs? And I know about this because I have my apartment mainly. Like, you know, I was able to get my apartment because I filled out paperwork for a couple of years, having to show a certain amount of income to qualify for this apartment. So because I did that, I have a little more awareness of what's out there. Like, I guess somebody could look at that and say, oh my God, that seems, I don't know how I could do that. There's so much paperwork. Do I even qualify? But because I've already done it, I look at it and I go, that's a pretty simple application. Fill it out. He'll go to school for free. It's the same with NYU at the moment. She also qualifies him for NYU for free. So I don't mean to be like,
Does he want to go to college?
wants to go to college, definitely.
All right, so that's part of it. Does he
Now
know what he
it's-
wants to study?
No.
Okay.
I have a feeling it's business oriented, business like. He is interested in business. I don't put any, I don't tell him to do that. He's interested in it himself.
Mhm.
So I just feel it's important that she understands these different ways of going to college. I'm not trying to get out of paying full tuition. It's more like, did you know
Yeah.
that tuition is free? If
Does he have colleges that he's interested in particular, or?
not yet, we've got a whole big picture of it first. So, but we're still working together. Like it was a little reactionary at first, and then I think she understood. Like, oh yeah, duh. There's some pride. There's some pride, and then there's some little bit of guilt that a parent does. That's a little bit funny. That's all. You know, there's a little bit of this Italian thing, like, oh, but it's so expensive. Oh, it's so expensive. You know, this is always an issue. And then, you know, I walk in like, hey, did you know it's free? So she goes, oh, well, you know, what? You can't qualify for that. Actually, you can. So,
Yeah, and you'd help him fill it out, right? You've already
yeah,
done
just
it.
show you how to fill it out. And even if it's, even if there's a percentage that you can't do it, you don't, I mean, again, I think about my apartment, and I knew I was going to get it. So I just did it. And, you know, because I've gone through that process, I look at these applications and I say, hey, let's do this. So I think she finally understood. I could tell at the end of the conversation, she said to him, look, Gio, you know, apply to NYU because your dad, you know, sees this opportunity and you should do it. Because that's the last thing I'll say. If you apply for these things, but you don't really put effort or put your concentration on it, you know, it's more than just an application now. There's a couple of essays and there's a resume that make it really, that are a part of it. So I think he's going to start concentrating a little bit more. That's it.
Yeah, good shepherding.
Yeah.
Marquita, what does Steve want to talk about tonight?
In a moving vehicle by rhythmically swaying experience, or in a still vehicle by letting yourself swing in slowing invisible circles. In a moving vehicle by rhythmically swaying experience. Or in a still vehicle by letting yourself swing in slowing invisible circles.
Who's the last one, Jeff?
Or in a still vehicle by letting yourself swing in flowing, invisible circles.
What kind of vehicle people would,
Rickshaw,
Chariot,
huh?
right? Chariot?
chariot,
See?
a rickshaw.
Vermana, in a Vermana, the spaceship.
Nandi the bull.
All right, well, Clint, it's your turn to figure us out with 3 Japanese yes. Hi. Hi.
Aye,
Hi.
aye.
Computer, turn off.